Hello.
Hi, Kate.
Hi, everybody.
Kate, who would you like me to make the co-host or host?
You can make it me if you want.
Okay,
Thanks, Becky.
sure.
We have some guests here tonight. Do we know that Melanie can join us tonight?
I think she'll be here.
Great.
So.
She's our secretary, so we'll need to wait for her.
Do we have any minutes from last time? Last week, I don't recall seeing any, but I don't know.
I don't think we do yet, no.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I just had a busier week than usual, so I suddenly realized I don't know if I noticed any. Is it your turn, Kate?
Yes.
Okay,
I think it is.
Thank you.
No problem.
Should one of us text her? I can if you need me to.
I'm texting her now.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, Marianne.
Sometimes she had trouble getting on.
Okay. Michelle is a backup if Melanie's not able to join us. Would you be willing
Yeah.
to take notes? I know you've done
Yes.
that before. Thank
Yeah,
you.
absolutely. Yeah, I did that for a few years. I can handle that.
Oh, Michelle. Let's see.
So just noting that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 members of, so we do have a quorum, so we can come to order. I still would like to give Melanie another minute or two, if that's okay.
Yeah, I'm writing down who's here just in case we have to start without her. So
Great, thank you.
Has she?
not yet.
I'll call her.
No, not seeing anyone in the waiting room either.
Okay, I'll call her.
Thank you. Do you want to go on unmute, Marianne? I'm going to mute you.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody, for being patient.
I left her a message, so I would
Okay.
think we
We'll
start
just
with
have
the
to get
motion.
started.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
oh,
She's
wait.
here, she's here.
Oh,
Yeah,
excellent.
I just admitted her, I hope.
Oh, good, good.
Oh, good.
Hey.
Thank you.
Hey, Melanie. Hey, Melanie, welcome. Okay, so here we are. Marianne, you had a conversation with the MBLC today. Would you like to tell us about it? Just noting that we are fortunate to have a lot of fervent library supporters and interested public officials and representation of the Friends with us tonight. And thank you all so much for coming. And I'm going to just turn it over to you if I may, Marianne.
Hi, everyone. So today I had a telephone conversation with Lauren Stara and Andrea Bunker of the MBLC, and they have gotten a draft of the cost estimate. And they're going to get the final documents on Wednesday and they'll forward them to us. But they wanted to share the preliminary information, which is pretty complete, with us so that we can understand where the cost estimate came in. So the total project cost is $6.3 million. And the grant amount would be 3.58 million. And the local match, so Shutesbury's portion is 2.72 million. The construction costs are 4.3 million, and the engineering and architectural costs and furniture, fixtures and equipment and contingencies are 2 million. So the cost estimators said that costs are coming in very high because when we started this process, we hoped that construction costs would come down, but they haven't. And then the fuel costs and the war is also driving costs. So it's a pretty high cost estimate. And so the MBLC, they mentioned that the next grant round might be in 2 to 3 years. In the next grant round, they don't know what the reimbursement rate will be, but it's not likely to be 75%. And it certainly won't be. This grant round, one of the things that's especially unusual about it is that it's 75% of the eligible cost of the total project cost. So these are estimates and we won't know the total project cost until the end of the project. But they're committed to 75% of the total eligible project costs. And in the next grant round and all previous grant rounds, it's a fixed amount based on the cost estimate at the beginning of the project. And then the operating costs of the building, the way that we specified it, will be low because the part of why the building is high is because we're putting upfront, we're investing into the energy systems upfront in ways that are more expensive. The type building envelope, the solar panels make the cost of construction higher.
Thank you, Marianne. So I'll just say that was a blow. That's a blow to me, at least. Others may have different views about this, but that is considerably more than I'd hoped it would be. Like on the order of $2 million more than I'd hoped it would be. And it's sort of hard to absorb. So I guess the first thing I'd like to do is just make space for trustees to I don't know, would people like just a couple minutes to process and then we can discuss? Let's just take a couple minutes of quiet. And it's fine to follow Melanie's lead and go off camera if you like. Okay, calling us back. Hoping people had a little time to sort of begin to take this on board. So I just, so I don't know what, if any, decision we need to take this evening. But honestly, I don't think I can in conscience put that amount before the town. I want to get those sense of the body. And I, go ahead, Michelle.
Well, I feel like we need to, talk with the finance committee and find out what the select board thinks and all of that, because yeah, it's a big number, but with the way construction costs are right now, I mean, what's the new Amherst Elementary School is going to cost $100 million or something. I think I wasn't actually shocked. I actually thought it would be higher. I told Mary Ann that. So.
Okay, that's really good to know. Thank you, Michelle. Well, we do have representatives, sorry, do any other trustees want to get in? We have a representative from the select board. We have our town manager. We have, I'm sure the FinCom probably hasn't had a chance to converse about this yet, but if any, just go ahead and raise your hand, go off mute, whatever, jump on in. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, I just wanted to have it clarified after the 75%, et cetera, what is the net that we're estimating now that the town would have to come up with?
0.72 million.
Excuse me?
$2.7 million.
2.7. Oh, okay, thank you.
We have 550,000 now.
Plus the cost of the land brings us close to 600,000. That leaves 2.1, which doesn't sound so bad if you say it really fast.
Yeah, I like that. Does no one else have any comments?
Becky, go ahead.
I think we are really caught in this inflation and unfortunate times. I mean, if we got to choose when this would be done, we wouldn't have picked now. 18 months from now or a year, things might look differently, but the critical thing that has to happen now is that annual town meeting vote. But that once we go out to bid and get pricing back in a different climate, it might come in a much more manageable number. And I think I'm thinking of it in two pieces. I think the town potentially would, if we had to look at 2 million, there's a variety of paths to take. Finance committee will look at all the different scenarios, I'm sure. But with the first pass at the optimistic 800,000 or $1 million number, it was possible that we wouldn't even have to go for a debt excluded override. So I have to imagine that we could go for a debt excluded override that could be brought down from the 2 million number in a couple of ways. And potentially, you know, I guess bottom line, and I know some others probably feel the same. Bottom line, I think town meeting should have a chance to decide this. And I know the emotional level that everyone's probably thinking about, not wanting to go to that emotional level, but I think there's too many different possibilities financially that need to be reviewed before any decisions are made. And again, I'll say I think town meeting should have a shot at this.
Thanks so much, Becky. Go ahead, Rita.
So I concur with Becky. I would not back down at this point. I was not surprised by the number. And, you know, knowing what's going on inflation wise and construction cost wise, it didn't really surprise me. You know, I think put it to the people. But before you do, that everybody sharpens their pencils and looks at town finances at the whole picture. We do have the ability to take on debt. You know, the town has a lot of expenses before it, but I have a very touchy laptop here, that the town has significant reserves and we have the capacity to take on debt, and to back off before we even go through those calculations would be, I think, a real tragedy. There's, you know, a lot of people are very invested in seeing a library, and I think it's incumbent upon the trustees to do what you can to see if we can make this work. I was in the housing business, affordable housing business, and dealt with a lot of developers, and the attitude that you have to have is we're going to make it work. That's just the way you do it until you can't make it work. And I think the first step here is to, you know, take a long, hard look at the finances and then let town meeting decide, but not say no now. I think that would be premature and very upsetting to a lot of people.
Thanks, Rita. I saw Brett next and then Tim.
I have two different things. One is just looking at those numbers quickly, the amount, the percentage of ineligible costs not covered by the 75% of the MBLC seem higher than I expected. And I'm curious to know more about that too. I'm not sure we can go into all that detail now, but that's something I would like to look at, you know, soon, to figure out why that sense of what's eligible and what's ineligible seems to have changed. In my mind, it seems to have changed. So that's one thing. And the other was, so this was the estimate of their estimators, but what do we know about whether or not they're giving us the grant?
So I asked if we were in the running. I asked about Otis, and Otis's project is a little bit bigger and a little more expensive than ours. they had a conversation with the Otis folks today. Um, and they said, so I was really shocked by the number. And you know, I tried doing some research on my own before this, and then you know, I was shocked by the number. So I said, yeah, I think Otis is in a different financial place than we are. They haven't done any fundraising. They haven't been planning this for years and years and years like we have. But they have a different type of tax base than we have. And they, maybe because they hadn't done it before and had a $3.5 million project that failed, they didn't have expectations or hopes like I had. But I asked if we were in the running, and they said yes. So, and they had an opportunity to say, it looks like this is the other project is a stronger project. So they said they were having conversations with us today to give us the opportunity to withdraw, to save ourselves the painful process of going through a town vote and losing.
Thanks, Marianne.
But so
Oh,
just to
Go
follow
ahead, Brad,
up on my
for follow-up.
question, it sounds like they're giving us an opportunity to withdraw, but they're not also saying it's ours if we want it. It sounds like we're still waiting.
Right. We are definitely
Yeah,
still waiting.
We are still waiting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
And they
that.
said they're going to make an announcement at the Board of Library Commissioners meeting. I believe it's the first Thursday in April.
Okay.
So that's when they'll make their announcement about who gets the grant.
Okay, I saw Tim, then Susie, then Melanie, please. Go ahead, Tim.
I think the only real issue here right now that we have to face is communication. We've presented the concept of a library at a much lower price, or at least people are out there assuming it's going to be lower. We don't know for sure if their estimates are going to work out like that. So it's like Rita said, that part of it can be a roller coaster. The part that will be difficult, though, is the communication. How do you talk to people in the town about the fact that prior to the town meeting, we're going to have to be talking about a $6 million figure? So number one, how do you prevent people who don't want a library from taking that and saying, oh, they were pulling our leg all the time, et cetera. And that's why they didn't tell us what the price was or whatever, the kind of nonsense that can come up. I think what we should do, in my opinion, is continue in the vein that we've done, which is be very transparent and just describe exactly what's going on. The bid came in a lot higher. We understand that could be a pill for people to swallow. But on the other hand, the very things that make that, the inflation, the war, all the stuff that's going on are actually, ironically, all the more reason we need something like a library, something that helps establish and reinforce communities. So my opinion is go for it and focus on how it's a dilemma for us as supporters of a library. It's a shock, but I think we owe it to the town to let them have that option. And we owe it to ourselves to do the best possible job we can. And I have to bow down to Mary Ann and all you guys. Kate, you know, your ability to be transparent about this has been phenomenal. And if you can continue in that same light between now and the town meeting, I think you should. And there's nothing wrong with that. If the town as a whole says, wait a minute, we just can't deal with 6 million, so be it. But there's no way I would say myself not to take it to town meeting. There's a lot of variables. The only mistake I feel that can be made is poor communication about this, about the higher price. You know, the way that is communicated is, to me, the real essential issue right now. That's it.
Thank you, Tim. So Susie next and then Melanie.
I want to acknowledge that this is a moment of sort of hollow ringing, but it's also the very same library plan that people drew up. It's the same plan. And that was a great building program. And it is a perfect library for us. And we need a library in Shutesbury. I think for a process, as people have mentioned, we need to say, this is what this library costs for right now. We may have hoped other things. We may not have known other things. We may have wished we're in a different time, but this is the library that the Board of Library Trustees and Mary Ann drew up that will meet the needs of the town. And we're also in a very special position to be in a grant that has a better reimbursement and an open-ended commitment to cover this. And that's not going to change. It can only go away. And that's what they are telling us. This opportunity is not going to be there the next time. And so I think we line out a process, which I'm guessing that we go to, this project goes in front of the FinCom. The FinCom brings all the tools that they can to this project. They look at what the cash reserves, they look at the debt capacity, they look at the commitment the town, the fundraising has brought to it, and they make a proposal. I imagine that they can put a warrant article together that says, with a 2/3 vote, we can approve using cash reserves in this way and encumber some debt that's in the debt capacity, and that there's an override component. 2/3 passes using that free cash and stabilization and other cash reserves. And then it goes to an override for the balance that leaves the town with enough money to meet its other needs and still captures this opportunity that's very unique to have this grant. And then that override goes in front of the townspeople. And it's really not about dollars. It's about, do you want a library? This is our opportunity to get a library. We know that the opportunity doesn't present itself the same way in the future. And I can say that people need to make this decision. In an override, it needs to be a simple majority. So if we can get those 2 votes out of the town, and we can use all of those resources that the Finance Committee can apply, then the question comes down to the people. Do you want a library?
Thank you, Susie. Over to you, Melanie.
I really appreciate everything that folks have contributed, and I think we ought to go for it. I really do. There is no guarantee that when the next grant round comes around, that inflation won't be higher, construction costs won't be even higher. They may be, and we'll wish that we had moved forward now. And what we know will be gone in 2 to 3 years or 1 year or whatever the next grant cycle is this 75% match, or them paying for 75% of the eligible costs. And I know it's a lot of money, but I just want to echo what other people have said, that we need a new library. It's more critical than ever, especially with the closing of the bathroom. And it's just, we can't carry on this way. And yeah, I think that, Rita's right, that we ought to, bring it to town meeting, assuming we're offered the grant, that we ought to bring it to town meeting and see what people think.
Thank you, Melanie. Penelope?
Yes, hello. I just thank you so much for all you've done for the last 10 years and even before that. And I just want to say what others have said. This is such a great opportunity. It's time for this to happen. There are an awful lot of people in town who have been hoping and working with you and watching, and there's momentum. The big mo is there. And I think that the dollar sign is really not that critical. I mean, we're used to throwing big millions of dollars around. The thing that people are going to want to understand is, well, in my pocket, my tax rate, am I going to have to pay $100 instead of $50? Well, it's still not insurmountable compared to everything else that we are spending our money for. I think that the money is not going to be that big a consideration. I think what we've really got to look at is that this is a wonderful opportunity. And as we've said, it's not going to come around again. I've waited a long time and I want, and I think there are an awful lot of us in town who just are following it with a great deal of enthusiasm, and we can build on that. And let's keep the momentum going. And thank you for all you're doing.
Thank you, Penny. Savannah, you're next.
Sorry, I had to unmute. Yeah, I want to agree with several of the people who spoke before, and certainly with Penny about it's. I was looking around around at people's faces and seeing, especially, Marianne and Kate, because you've just sort of absorbed this blow, and I'm looking at you and thinking, yeah, I'm sure this is like painful. This just really is difficult. But I also feel like, we have a lot of resources in this group, and that includes all the people who are here tonight. And I agree with Brad and Rita and, with everybody who's saying, let's look at the options before we get too discouraged, because yeah, it's true, it didn't come in exactly the way we would have liked it to, but on the other hand, who knows what the end product is going to look like. And we have options. I think we have to, I just think we have to keep up the energy and keep up the communication and keep up the fundraising and just do it. And, damn the torpedoes, as they say.
Full speed ahead.
All right.
Thank you, Savannah. Michelle?
Yeah, I didn't say a lot the first time. I just said that I wasn't surprised at the price. So I just want to say that I agree with everybody. I feel like, I was on the last attempt, and I feel like there's so much momentum this time. Look at what we've raised in 10 or 11 years without the promise of the library. If they tell us the first week of April that we have it, I feel like there's so much more that we can do to raise money beyond what the finance committee and Becky and the select board can figure out. I feel like that, you know, now's the time. I feel like we have to go for it. We have to at least try. That's my thought.
Thank you, Michelle. Anyone else? Okay, so the clear sense of the meeting is that we should sit tight and see whether we get the grant, right? That we don't want to withdraw, right? Okay.
We should talk to the finance committee. They have a meeting tomorrow night.
Okay.
And I can go and tell them the same news. Trustees can go, but you can't all go. You should, if you want the trustees to be represented there, you should choose one representative. Becky, did you want to talk to that? 'Cause you-
Tomorrow night's meeting is, oh, I'm muted. No, I'm not. Tomorrow night's meeting, they have a guest. The actuary who has done our OPEB study is coming. So that's going to be like almost an hour or 45 minutes. And then we have the capital planning is going to review. They're going to review what all the items are. They're not going to discuss about financing. So I'm just saying it's going to be a pretty intense meeting early. I'll talk to Jim about what the best time would be to fit you guys in. You're talking about just presenting and not waiting for a response tomorrow.
I think
Right.
that's right. I mean, presumably the finance committee is going to need some time to deliberate. We, you know, if I wouldn't have wanted to, you know, I wouldn't want to make a decision without our having time. I wouldn't want us to make a decision without our having time to deliberate. So I'm sure they want to be afforded the same thing.
Yeah. And just to round out your picture, I think we have one of the largest years in capital requests we've had in a long time. It's about $370,000 is being requested this year. Just so you're aware in the back of your minds, but I think, so it's a bit of a puzzle, but there's a lot of ways to go about it because of our very healthy reserves. And I think the finance committee might, you know, want to get back to you and, you know, meet again in a week and not wait 2 weeks like they normally do. So I'll talk to Jim tomorrow and see if they can fit you in or if they need to schedule a meeting just to talk to you guys, because that would be the other route to go.
Thank you. I mean, again, we are not going to know whether we get the grant until the 6th of April, it sounds like. Yeah, okay, thank you. I see Susie and I see Brad.
I think that it would be appropriate. So in keeping with what Tim was saying, it's appropriate to let this news come out and to say that it's something that is being figured out. And it's going to be figured out by the groups that have to figure it out. Nobody can preempt this on us. So yes, I think it's important for the news to get out before it gets out in some way that then you're accused of not revealing. So if you reveal to the FinCom tomorrow night what you know in a simple statement, and then say, I understand you have a process and you'll be doing it. You'll be dealing with it. And in that is the time frame of when the actual grant is finalized. And people should not jump in and draw any conclusions. So getting the news out and then telling people it's not time to draw conclusions.
Before Brad, I see you, but before you go, Marianne, we're expecting the paperwork on Wednesday.
Yes.
Well, I just want to say I'm a little uncomfortable. I know we have the overall figure, but we don't have any detail behind it. And I feel a little uncomfortable. We haven't even had a chance to look at what they're basing the estimate on. And I feel a little uncomfortable going out before that. I leave it to the rest of the body and FinCom and Becky's experience and whatever, but it makes me anxious. Marianne, do you mind if Brad, do you mind if Marianne has a direct response before you go? Thanks. Go ahead, Marianne.
Right, I think we wait for the cost estimate and then we look at it. And then when we are, and then we do draft a statement that says, this is the cost estimate. We're surprised by it too. These are some of the details. And then these are our next steps. Our next steps would be talking to Finance Committee. And also we could say that we still don't know if we have won the grant. So, and then we might, and then maybe we would schedule, so the trustees have already planned to meet every Monday. Maybe we make a point of announcing that the trustees are meeting next Monday and invite people to come and share their reactions with us, but not call it reactions. Or invite them to come and help us process this new information. Or maybe we don't meet that next Monday. We meet with the
We don't
finance
actually have
committee.
one scheduled. We don't have a meeting
Hmm.
scheduled for next
Okay.
Monday.
And we plan a meeting for the following Monday. Or some other time that once we've had the meeting with the finance committee, we see what the finance committee proposes for a funding path. And then we plan a public meeting for people to come and talk about it.
Thanks, Marianne. So I see Brad and then back to you, Becky.
I acknowledge that this estimate came in a lot higher than I was expecting. And what that makes me want to do more than anything else is just look at the details to try to understand it. But I also agree with what everybody's been saying, that we need to keep going. This isn't something that makes us stop here. We need to just keep working on it and see what we can do. And if it helps, I would be quite happy as a trustee to put a vote on that, to say, I vote we keep going. I don't know that we need that, but I feel that's the sense of the meeting. Anyway, whether
I
we
agree.
need the vote or not, I put my vote in.
Thank you. Thank you. Becky?
I just wanted to mention that I hope you will be prepared to get a statement out quickly. I've been living in an environment where almost the morning after every meeting, the videos are requested. I don't know if this will happen to your meeting, but if it is, I don't want you to miss an opportunity to make a statement ahead of scuttlebutt.
Brad, you're next.
Just echoing what Becky was saying, I agree with that. I feel like we've been in this boat so often with this project where we don't quite know everything, but we can't wait until we know everything. Right now, we know a bid, an estimate. And if we wait for confirmation and details, the word is going to be well out there beforehand. And I don't know that we should wait for that. I think we should simply say, this is what we know so far. We'll tell you more when we learn more. But I worry about waiting until we know enough, because by then it could well be too late to explain our position.
I agree. Anyone else want to speak to that? Go ahead, Susie.
I've been using the term drive the car. And you can drive the car here. You can say what you know, and you can say who's going to be involved in the process, and that it's going to go to the FinCom next, and that the trustees decided to continue to move in this process. And then you don't have to answer other questions like, what did you expect it to be? Or is it how much higher? It's like, that's not it. We're just moving the car, and don't get trapped in feeling you have to answer people's charges.
Michelle, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree totally with what Susie's saying and what other people have said. I think we just present what we know, and that's kind of how this process has been, and that's it. And just so everyone's aware, because yeah, if someone asks to see the video tomorrow, they will know the number, and then it will be around town pretty fast. So I totally agree. I think a short and sweet kind of statement that we could draft tonight, maybe, and then we could post that right away. Makes sense.
Thank you, Michelle. Tim? You're on mute, Tim.
We've all been in situations, or at least I think so, where, we're looking at a house price or looking at something we want to buy in terms of a house, and we get shell shocked from one proposal on it, and I'm, to be honest, I'm not convinced that the numbers you're being told are the numbers we're going to necessarily have to deal with. There's a professional estimating group that's not the same as a contractor saying this is what we're going to do. So there's so many variables up in the air that it's just, I don't think it's beneficial for us to get upset about it at this point, to be honest. Even if it is $6 million, the long-term benefits of a library in this town are worth way more than that for what it does for the community. I don't agree with the idea of having a meeting to get reaction about it. I do agree with Susie's approach and Becky's approach, get a solid message, wait for the, wait till you have additional, you don't need to study the estimate to have that message. Then once the FinCom and the estimate is looked at more, you have an idea of what that really translates to, how it affects an individual, then move on. But I'll go back to my original statement. I think right now, the real question is how this is communicated, and not letting a high cost estimate create an opportunity for people to sabotage this by talking about something that they don't know any more about than we do at this point. So I urge us to follow Susie and Becky's suggestions. Get the meetings scheduled as quickly as possible with FinCom and go forward. Thanks.
Go ahead, Brad.
I think this is a question for Becky. How often does FinCom meet?
They've been meeting every 2 weeks. And tomorrow night is the 22nd. So they'll meet again on what, April
5th, I think.
April 5th.
I don't know whether it's reasonable to think they would have anything to say after tomorrow. I mean, they have a big agenda tomorrow, and I would think they need time to think about it. It seems more reasonable to think that they're going to know more.
So Susie, I'm going to hear from Rita first, and then you, please.
All I was going to say, it's not on the FinCom agenda. So it shouldn't be a topic of discussion tomorrow night. I mean, the announcement, yeah, I agree that there should be something put out in the morning. This is going to be out there really quickly. State the facts, state what we know, state when the final decision is going to come. These are the preliminary, just in a phone call. This is what we've heard. We're going to have something in writing on Wednesday. And the next step for the trustees, but there's no sense in just trying to keep anything under the radar now. It's going to be out there. Get out in front of it. And the finance committee can't do anything tomorrow night. It's way too big.
Yeah. So I see Susie and then Brad, and then I need to put myself in the queue, please.
One thing I know on our agenda tomorrow is to make a timeline starting from town meeting and work back. And so we need to know, we need to commit ourselves to scheduling meetings that will help meet the needs of make it all happen by May 21st. So there's an opportunity for the FinCom to meet sooner than every 2 weeks to nail down something like this. So I agree, we won't need to have you present anything tomorrow. It can be in the general message that's in the community, and we will know that considering this project will be part of our timeline, which we're going to establish tomorrow.
Thanks, Susie. Brad, you're next.
I think the price tag, the high price tag, is largely representative of the fact that there's been a lot of inflation in construction costs since we last went through this project. And acknowledging that, I'm so grateful that we're in the middle of a program that gives us a higher percentage of reimbursement from the state. It's really unfortunate that inflation is what it is over the last, I don't know what it is, 10, 12 years. In construction costs, but that is part of reality. And I'm so grateful, as I said, that given that fact, that we have this other fact, which is that there's the 75% reimbursement of eligible costs.
Okay. Well, I do think we have a clear sense of the meeting. So I don't know that we don't really have anything to act on, right? We don't have the paperwork. We don't have we don't know whether we have won the grant. We won't know that for a couple of weeks. The one thing that we do know is that we need to get out a statement, and we need to do that quickly. And y'all, I have been really reflecting over this, and I cannot in conscience serve as the spokesperson for this position. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can't do it effectively. I hear you and I believe you. I believe that you see what you see, and I believe that you hope what you hope. But I am afraid that if we go forward with this, that we will damage the position of the library in this town. And I believe that my primary function is to advocate for the well-being of the library and the people who use it. As desperately as we need a new building, the institution is more important to me than that. And so I can't in conscience serve as the spokesperson for this. I'm really sorry. It's a terrible, terrible time. But I can't do it, and I wouldn't do it well. You have to do this with conviction. So we're going to need to find someone else to play that role. I'm really sorry that I can't serve. And if it's better for the body for me to step down, I will certainly do that. And honestly, it might be, and you might want me to step off while you think about that. I would be glad to. Go ahead, Savannah.
You're muted.
Just for clarification, I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about what you mean when you say that it would be harmful to the library.
Yeah, I can explain myself a little more. I'm not sure if I'll do it better, but I'll give it a try. I think that we've done an amazing job as a body over the, the whole time since the last project. And especially Marianne and especially the Friends of the Library to build goodwill in this town towards the library, to raise money regularly at town meeting and to raise so much money independently and privately through the Friends. And I think that the process that we managed and put together in rapid response to this pilot opportunity, which I have to just pause and say, if they're not doing it again, in what sense is it a pilot? Right? If they have already ruled out, status quo ante, doing it again, this is not a pilot in any respect. And that's a little frustrating to me. But I think we've done a really good job to be as clear and transparent and inclusive as we possibly could be. And I know that we'll continue to do that, but my communications, my intention was not to come up with a project that cost more than twice what the last one did to the town. Okay. And I think that it will be incredibly divisive if we go forward. And I think that that division will get focused on the library as an institution again. And I don't think it's good for us. I know we need this building desperately, I really do. But I don't think it's going to be good for us. And it makes me terribly sad to say that. But that's how I see it, and I have to act according to conscience. I'm so sorry.
I'll take over. Go ahead, Tim.
I understand where you're coming from, Kate, but I don't think being as transparent as we've been, being as truthful as we've been, acknowledging the fact that, yeah, it was a surprising high number at this point. But I believe in the idea of a town deciding what they want and having the opportunity to make that decision.
I agree. I just can't argue for it. Okay, I can't argue for that. So someone else is going to have to do that. That's all. And I'm not trying to impede the decision of this body or anything like that. I really am not. I'm just trying to tell you what I can't do anymore.
Okay. Unfortunately, I'm probably the least qualified person on the board of trustees, but people like Susie, Becky, Marianne, Michelle, you guys are all really qualified to make a statement and write it out. All I can do is, like if Susie wanted to get together and suggest a statement, then I could, as a trustee, bring it back to people. But I think what we should do tonight is decide who can write up a statement, give them permission to, give them our blessing, so to speak, to put it out there. And please get a copy to us so we all know exactly how it's being stated and go forward. It does not have to be a divisive thing to go to town meeting. It's only divisive if somebody wants to get out there and make it divisive.
After I take my shower, it'll be 9 o'clock.
I just think that they will.
I think we got some back.
I'm sorry, I can't remember who's next.
It was Brad. It's Brad and then Marianne and Al.
Okay, right, it's an order, thanks.
I didn't mean that.
Can somebody, maybe Savannah? Is it Savannah? Can you mute? There's no one up here with me. Okay, go ahead, Brad.
Kate, this is partly in response to what you were bringing up. I feel like what we are proposing, what we're endeavoring to do right now is to keep the ball rolling. And to me, that's different than deciding we're taking this to town meeting. We're keeping the ball rolling. And the first step of that is to go to FinCom and to talk about what the options are. And take it one step at a time. I don't know that that helps, but that was just how I felt
Yeah,
about it.
no, I understand that. I appreciate that. So Marianne, you're next, and then Melanie.
So I've drafted a statement that, you know, that probably needs a little bit of massaging, but we could do that. You know, like when we're done with this discussion, I could share the statement and we could, I'm sure
Great.
we could fix it up.
Great. I was about to
And-
do the same thing, Marianne. So yeah, okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Marianne. Melanie?
I just wanted to say that I really appreciate everything that you have shared in your feelings about this and your conscience. And I also just want to echo what Brad was saying, that it seems like the statement is just to say that we've heard, you know, we've heard that this is coming and we don't even have it yet. Right. And then we're going to approach FinCom. So I'm just, I'm just wondering if we did just kind of take it one step at a time, that there might be, like, maybe tonight isn't, I mean, to me,
know,
it
I was
doesn't
thinking
feel, I
about
don't
that
want to
too.
vote as a board to be like, you know, I think Kate should step down. And I mean, that doesn't seem like the right time or the right move or the right anything. It just seems like we're gathering information and we're trying to integrate all of it and figure out what it means. And yeah.
I know, and I'm trying to decide whether I'm being rash, and I'm not, I don't, it's possible, I certainly can be. I'm trying to imagine myself arguing with someone about this, and I can't see it. Okay, that's
And
probably enough
we
about me.
don't have to, like, we don't even know if we're going to get the grant yet, right? And or
Right, so
FinCom
might
may
not happen.
say, no way, we
Right,
can't do that.
yeah.
Or
No,
there's
that's
just
right.
so many steps between this
Yeah.
moment and that argument that we may, and it may be that maybe we're offered the grant and we meet and we say we can't make that argument either. You know what I mean? Or FinCom says, you know, like, there's just so
Yeah.
many, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Let's hear Marianne and Michelle's
Yeah, let's
statement
do.
and
Thanks.
move forward.
I don't have a statement yet. I was about to write one when Marianne said she had it. I just wanted to say that, like, Kate, this is no one's fault. It's not your fault. It's no one's fault. It's just the facts. And I feel like we just need to state the facts, as Susie was saying, and read
Oh,
it.
no,
State
I
the
don't think
facts.
it's anyone's fault.
And I
I think
feel
you
like
did an
it's,
amazing job.
I mean, don't take it on that just because it was twice what you thought it might be or hoped it would be. But let's just take this one step at a time. I would hate to have you step down because you've been so helpful with all your skills and communicating. So I feel like let's, like what Melanie said too, let's take it one step at a time. Let's get our little factual statement out, brief statement for tomorrow, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Okay, I see Marianne next, and then Savannah, I think.
I'm actually going to pass. How about that? So there you
Okay.
go. Marianne chose not to speak. I want that reflected in the minutes.
Savannah, go ahead.
Just before, we move on to the issue of the statement, I just want to say that I guess my feeling about it, about wanting to just proceed, and for everybody who feels like they can speak to it, and if you don't feel like speaking to it, then that's fine too. And I just wanted to agree with Melanie that we have to say we don't even know if we have this yet. So let's not argue about this. Let's wait for the information. And the final thing I wanted to say is that I was at the library a couple of days ago. And I really hate to say this, but I think I was more appalled than usual at the state of the library because of the pandemic and because of the amount of stuff that has to be there, and the way Marianne and Cynthia have to function behind that desk. It hurts my sense of justice to see it. And so that's sort of why I'm feeling moved to just keep going and try to meet resistance however we can and whoever can do it. And thanks to everybody who's done it all along. And let's just see what happens.
Thank you. Melanie, is your hand up again, or was it still up because you're doing 20 things at once?
No, it's my usual leave my hand up by mistake. Putting it down.
Okay, no worries. All right. Well, I do apologize for this. I just felt like I had to tell people where I was landing right now. But I also really appreciate you all so much, more than I can even tell you, and your courage and your optimism and your faith. It's beautiful. It really is. And so thank you. And Michelle, you are, entirely capable of working on a statement and releasing a statement. You're authorized to do so by the body. So I think, unless there's anything else, that we could stand adjourned.
Marianne, did you have a statement that you wanted to share?
Should I share it?
Yeah, I started drafting one, but I want to hear what you because I don't have all the facts in
right.
front of me.
Let's see. It must be this one. Okay, do you see it?
It's a little bit cut off. Is there any way to scroll up?
Yeah,
you go.
there
Okay.
you go. Let me do this. Okay. And here I'll make it a little bigger. So, dear Shutesbury residents, we are writing with an update about the small library pilot project. On Monday, March 21st, 2022, Marianne had a conversation with Lauren Stara and Andrea Bono Bunker. I would have to change that. The construction specialist from the MBLC. They have received a draft of the cost estimate for our proposed project. Influenced by inflation and the war in Ukraine, the cost estimate is higher than we expected and hoped. The total project cost is estimated to be $6.3 million. The grant amount would be $3.58 million. The local portion, our town's responsibility, would be $2.72 million. The decision about which town will be awarded a grant has not been decided. The next step is for library trustees to share this information with the finance committee, who will make a recommendation about how to meet our town's portion of the cost. Then we'd have to say, oh good, I can edit it. If we are awarded the grant. And okay, so good. You have some feedback, Michelle?
Yes, I feel, being the eternal optimist, I say you start out with in the first paragraph, you say when and we're going to know when it'll be awarded, rather than going right to the cost.
So okay, we are writing with an update about the small library pilot project.
So I had
And
that right in
so-
the very first sentence, that the decision about which town will be awarded the small library grant will be announced on April 6th, then go into the preliminary estimated cost.
Okay.
And then that's the only thing I thought at the beginning. And then at the end, I guess just saying what the process will be about FinCom. And Anybody else has?
April 6th, then we can change. Okay. All right, so,
Oh, you could have put it after your sentence, but just so that we know that people know that upfront, oh, we don't, this isn't a done deal yet. We don't know even if we're gonna get it.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So I'm gonna move this.
Yeah, after your first
sentence.
sentence, yeah.
After,
That's
so,
really great.
After the very first sentence, that's the first, so like, that's the first thing they told you, maybe. I don't know if they did or not, but
okay, all right, so I had the conversation with them and then that's what they
then put
told
it right
me.
there,
Okay.
yeah. Yep.
Okay, all righty, all righty, okay. Okay, and I can always send this to you for a final read before it goes out. In fact, I will, because it'll need a comma or, you know.
It needs a period instead of a comma between 2.72 million. And I see Brad.
Is that inviting me to say something?
Yeah.
I know I have my hand up. Mary Ann, this is a question. I thought I had heard you say it was a Thursday in April. Is it a Wednesday?
Yeah, I mean, I'll check the exact date and make sure we have the exact date.
Okay, because Thursday's the 7th.
Yeah, I'll check the exact date. I'll go on their website, and check.
Yeah,
the date
because
and
somewhere
make
I
sure
thought it
we-
was the 6th also, because that's what I had
Right.
written down.
Right,
My other
you-
comment is, this is nitpicky, but you start with the total project cost, and then there are 2 lines that follow it. I would have that all be one paragraph, not.
I
I
agree.
know,
agree.
that's,
I agree.
all right, that's fine. I can see, that's why, let's see, and then,
You can also
There-
remove that next sentence, the decision about which town will be
That's-
awarded
okay,
in the first
And
paragraph.
then how about if we say what we have in the coffers at this moment, just to remind, another way to remind people.
okay. So, let's see, so, as a reminder,
No, back up where the money is. Keep all the money together.
Yeah.
okay, all right, all right, so, okay,
How about to say at this time, we have this much money.
how about currently,
Currently, yes.
okay,
But have it be in the same
have,
paragraph with all the money.
a total of, you want it up in that same paragraph?
Yeah, so all the money's together.
Okay, all right, saved towards a new library. And we could also put, the value of the land and then put in the dollar amount.
Mhm.
Also counts towards our local
Contribution.
portion,
Yeah.
contribution, good, okay. Okay, leaving, so, to be decided. So I'll add up what we have saved and the value of the land and subtract it from 2.72 million. And so it'll be like 2.1 million. But we'll put in all those numbers. We'll do all that math first thing in the morning. Okay.
Brad, go ahead.
Mary Ann, you talked about how the MBLC is gonna give us more detail on Thursday.
Mhm.
I wanted to fit that in too. A
Okay.
more detailed breakdown is expected. This would be in the same paragraph, talking about the grants, a more detailed breakdown of the cost estimates is expected on Thursday.
In that case, I do think the money that we have currently saved and raised is a new paragraph.
So they actually said Wednesday.
Okay.
So that's what I'm gonna put.
That's fine.
Okay. Good.
Okay. And then, all right. Okay,
And I wasn't sure we had to go to the last bit, leaving XXX to be decided. Our statement, I think, is fine, saying we have the total saved plus the value of the land.
I agree with
Okay.
you, Brad. I don't think it needs to
Okay.
be there either. Let
All
people do
right.
the math themselves.
So how about if it's, I take away this thing and I put and the value of the land also counts towards our local contribution?
That's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I had the same thought.
Can I make a suggestion? I don't want people to think that we have something in writing and we're not providing it with this. It's kind of implied, but it's kind of vague. So I'm wondering if you know, a more detailed breakdown of the cost estimate or something saying that we're expecting something in writing.
We have that. We just added that to the total project cost paragraph.
I was wondering,
Saying
Melanie,
in writing.
What do you think about putting it up at the very end of the first paragraph? We're gonna receive the
Yeah,
draft of the cost and then put it right there for people that
You could
just
say,
skim
and
this.
shared that with Marianne over the phone or something like that.
Mhm.
So that
Yeah,
it's clear we don't
something
have
that
something in
indicates that-
writing that we're hiding.
Yeah, from a phone call,
Yep.
because I don't want any perception that we're not providing something in writing.
Right.
All right, so how about if I just put a telephone conversation?
Mhm.
You know, it wasn't even a Zoom conversation.
Mhm.
There, and then they have received a draft of the cost estimates for our proposed project. And shared it's about like minimal details, but we can do a better word than that.
The preliminary estimate verbally. And then
Okay.
and then move the other sentence, a more detailed breakdown, move that from down there to right after that one.
Let's see. Let's see. The preliminary breakdown.
No, it's the cost estimate, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Let's say that,
Okay.
'cause- yeah.
Okay. All right. Just costs, because we say cost estimate in the
Okay.
sentence, just be
Yeah,
right there's the
yeah,
cost verbally. Okay.
Yeah, just so it's clear, then if you,
okay,
does anybody
right.
else agree with me that the
Okay.
more detailed breakdown to the cost estimate is expected on Wednesday? Or do
Okay.
you think it's okay where it is?
So then that's, it says that down below. So then you want me to move that back up?
I'm asking what other people think. I don't
Okay.
know.
I think
Melanie,
they
what do you
belong
think?
together.
You
You
what?
think they belong together?
Yeah,
Okay.
the
Okay.
more detailed should move up to,
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking for people that just go for the facts at the beginning and skim the rest, you know?
Right, right. Okay. And then I'll take it away down here. Okay. Okay.
I
Okay.
think that's good. I don't think we need anything else. Nothing else to say.
All right, let's see. It can just be, we will share more information as we have it, as it is available.
As it becomes available, I guess.
Oh, there we go. As it becomes available.
I
Sorry,
would say as
minor
soon
thing that-
as,
Oh,
As
sorry.
soon as, okay.
because honestly, you got this, less than 12 hours ago and you're already planning to share it. So there's plenty of evidence.
Okay.
And that minor thing is the finance committee, that will make a recommendation instead of who.
Really? Okay,
Finance committee is a body, it's not a,
Okay. Alrighty, okay, all right,
sorry.
that's okay,
I think that looks like enough.
okay.
We
Yeah, I
don't
think
have
so
much more
too.
than that.
Oh,
I-
which?
I
Finance
wanted to
committee,
go-
I
Mary
like
Ann,
which better. Yeah,
when you're done with that, I wanted to scroll up a bit.
okay,
So there's that big first paragraph that in the middle, there's April 6th. The sentence after that, they shared, I was gonna say preliminary costs with us, but I'm not sure that sentence is even necessary. You had a telephone conversation. I don't think we need to say they received a draft. We just need to tell what we got from them.
okay,
I'm trying to
All
make
right.
it shorter.
okay.
They shared preliminary costs with us.
they shared the preliminary cost estimate with us.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
so
that
then we
looks,
can
that looks
change,
more succinct. I like that.
we can change costs to cost estimate because we just took it out.
Okay.
That's more succinct. I think that's better.
Okay,
Mhm.
Yeah, I think so.
And then in the next sentence, a more detailed breakdown is expected on Wednesday. We can take out the second cost estimate.
okay,
Yeah,
and
Great.
expected Wednesday, not on Wednesday.
yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
In the sentence that's the paragraph that starts currently we have, could we make that currently we have a total of X, which includes the amount saved for the library plus the amount, the value of the land,
Oh, lumping them together.
giving a single total for both
Mhm.
and then splitting it out. The amount of something or other.
And, okay, and just a total. So currently we have a total of XXX, which includes the amount saved towards a new library and the value of the land, period.
Well, unless you wanted to break them out, I don't care. If you put more numbers in, I would put both numbers. I just wanted to put a total of what we've
Okay.
saved and the value of the
Say,
land.
okay, so the amount saved towards a new library, XXX, and the value of the land, XXX, okay. And then get rid of this,
Yeah,
okay. Okay. Comma, do I put a comma here? Yeah, okay,
Should we say once we receive the final breakdown, the next step is for the library trustees to share the information with the finance committee?
well, I think
Since we
we're
don't- since we
probably
don't have
gonna
it-
share that information with them tomorrow night.
Well, that was
And
unclear
then-
to me by what
Okay.
everybody said, because it's not on the agenda and it sounds like they're very busy. I-
Well, so
I got-
they won't discuss it, but we'll inform them. You
Well,
know,
is Becky
yeah.
still here? I thought
No,
Becky was.
yeah,
no.
she's
I thought
gone.
Becky-
She
I thought
said it was
Becky-
fine to inform them, but we shouldn't expect a discussion.
Right,
And I mean, we
Right.
can just email them a copy of this.
Well, that's what I
Right.
thought. She felt like they would get the town announced like everybody else, and that would
Yeah.
be enough.
right,
Since
We
we don't have-
we
Right.
could also just copy them, right?
Yeah, I think that makes more
Right.
sense because we don't have
Okay.
anything and they're
right,
not gonna have time to deal with
Right.
it anyway.
right. right.
Might as well not put ourselves in a position of being asked questions that we can't answer yet.
Right.
We've done that
Right.
enough, right?
But I mean, but the next step is for us to share the information. Okay. All right. So you want to say, so when, all right,
Once we've received the breakdown, however you put it up above,
um,
the
let's
Detailed
see.
breakdown.
the written cost estimate, I don't know, however you want to say it.
We
That's it.
Where's
Okay.
our wordsmith, Melanie?
the detailed breakdown.
There we
Yeah,
go.
Yeah.
How about just the detailed cost estimate?
Mhm. Yeah.
Once we will share it with
The finance, the
the
library trustees.
finance committee. And I have to
Finance
go back
committee.
and make that an it instead of an if. With the finance committee, which will make a recommendation about how to meet our town's portion of the cost if we are awarded the grant. How about,
Which will
So-
then make a recommendation, maybe?
which
So you
will
have-
then,
Yeah, then you have a
Okay.
sequence.
okay. Make a recommendation about how to meet, do we want to, okay.
Can we just
Um,
say make a recommendation, period? Because we don't know if the recommendation is gonna be that we can meet, that the town's portion could be met.
Yeah.
So I guess we don't.
Or we could just end it after committee.
Yeah,
We'll
I
share-
think
Yeah,
that's right.
let's do that. Let's just do that.
Okay,
That's-
I
Because
like
it's
that.
their
Yes.
process, not
Yeah.
ours,
Yeah,
after all.
right,
We have no
okay,
idea what-
right.
yeah.
I like that. That's better. Okay. Should we
Now-
then go back to,
I think we took out something we need though.
What's that?
once we have received the detailed cost estimate, we will share it with the finance committee.
Do we say anywhere that we don't yet know that whether we're getting the grant?
Yeah,
yeah,
up at
yeah,
the top, we
up
say
at the
they're gonna
top.
announce we got the grant on the 6th, so.
Okay, thank you. I'm fine then.
How
Okay.
about saying where you expect to share the information? Where will they see it?
Well,
Is it-
I'll send this out in a town announce, and that is our town's mechanism for sharing information, you know.
Well, I guess I was thinking if you are going to share the detailed cost estimate, for example.
Oh,
with-
okay, that'll be on the small library pilot project page. Okay. So should I put updates?
Say, Marianne, you
Oh.
could go back to the previous paragraph and you could say, we will share it with the finance committee and post it on the pilot project webpage.
Mhm.
And then you'd be done kind of with that.
Okay,
Yep,
okay,
makes
Okay.
sense.
okay.
Look at this, great minds, we did this.
Marianne, I'm definitely gonna need the recording from tonight. I'm gonna have to go, there was so much going on.
Yeah.
I
So,
Yeah.
so this recording, this is Becky's Zoom account. So I'll email her in the morning and get her to send it to you.
Okay.
So, cause this, I mean, I do have the password somewhere, but she started the meeting. So the book club was meeting on our Zoom account and the other town Zoom account was being used for another meeting. So, all right, so do we want to circle back and say anything about how we understand that some of you might find this news to be, no?
Don't
No.
go there.
I don't
No,
think
the
so.
advice we got from Rita and other people is just state, and Susie, just state the facts. I think that's all we do.
Okay,
And I think we've already acknowledged it's higher than we expected or hoped, at least some of
Okay.
us. right?
Okay,
Even if some of
right,
us had a better
okay.
sort of finger on the
Right.
pulse
I
of the
mean, yes.
industry.
Yes, okay. I mean, it's higher than any of us hoped, so, and,
I'm just not shocked hearing about how much building materials
Right.
have gone up. That piece of,
Right.
a sheet of plywood has
Yes.
gone up ridiculous. I mean, it's
Yes.
crazy.
Yeah.
yeah,
Do you
Okay.
guys want to leave in the mention of the war in Ukraine? For some reason, that bothers me. I mean, inflation is inflation, whatever the cause of it is.
You know, I had a similar thought because I don't know that we can directly say that yet. Has that really
And
impacted us?
honestly, that's not what's driving fuel prices. It's
No.
really not.
No, it's
So
not.
I agree. We could just say influenced by inflation.
Yeah, I agree.
Lauren and Andrea did say the war, but I'm happy to take
Yeah,
it.
but they don't know. They're not experts
No.
in energy pricing or policy.
No.
So
No, okay.
I think we're
How
good.
about record inflation? Nope, that's
No, I
qualifying
think it's
it.
good.
leave
Just,
it.
Okay,
just the
Okay.
facts, man.
Value
That's all.
free,
Just
yep.
the facts.
Could we change that to due to inflation?
due to inflation?
Is that better? Maybe not.
yes, I think it's better.
You think due is better?
Yeah.
I think
It's
I think
direct
better.
cause, right? It's not a factor. It's the factor that's driving
Yeah,
up.
it
Okay.
is. It is. It's true.
Okay. All right.
Due to,
You too. Yeah.
Due to,
good call.
okay. Okay. All right. So in the morning, and so then, and then I'll post it, when I send out the town announce, I'll just say, a message, why am I having a hard time with this? Posting on
update.
behalf of the trustees of the library.
Right, right.
Yep.
Okay, all right, okay. And the subject line, we'll have it.
Yeah.
Okay, all righty, there you go.
Marianne, I think there's an extra space between with and the, once we've received the detailed cost estimate, that your word program is
It-
flagging something.
Where,
It is
down
that.
here?
At the end
Yeah.
of that,
Oh,
go,
yeah.
go to the end of that line after
But
with.
it's
Oh, with,
pixels.
with, okay, all right,
I
there
think
we
it's
go.
just a
Okay.
hidden, yeah,
There
okay.
you go.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, okay. All righty.
Okay, I think we're good.
All right. Are we
Okay,
all finished for this evening?
Sorry.
okay. So,
We all
I
finished
have
for?
one more question.
Go ahead.
Um, I believe that Kate has been responding and trying to put things on Nextdoor Shutesbury. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't mind putting this up. I'm just not going to talk to anybody about it. I'm not going to answer any questions.
Okay, that was my question. If anybody was going to monitor or respond to anything on that, I know Kate's saying
Not
she
gonna
doesn't want to. Does anybody want to do that, or do we feel it's necessary?
I think I don't think we need to respond right now. We're just stating the facts. This is all we know.
Okay, good.
There'll
right,
be
and I
discussion
actually
about it,
think
but-
it's better to just, if you post it on Nextdoor Shutesbury, to end it with, if you have any questions or comments about the small library pilot project, please email and put that library trustee's email
Yeah,
address, and I
that's
can
a
put
good
that at
idea.
the end of this too.
That's a
Um,
really good idea.
Yeah.
That's a more
Okay.
appropriate
All
mechanism.
right, all right, if you,
I know Kate's been cheering, but I noticed that Savannah's hand is up.
Yeah, I just was waiting for people to be ready, but go ahead, Savannah.
I wondered, I heard somebody mention earlier, somebody talking about the actual, when it goes out to bid, the actual costs may be different than this. Is that something we'll put out at some point? Because this isn't in some ways the be all and end all, right? Because it could be
I mean,
that it'll be
Practically,
different.
no. Politically, it is sort of insofar as this, we've got to base the warrant article, that total, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what it comes in at, we can certainly hope for the best.
Okay.
I think bringing that up now, I think you're right, Savannah, but I don't think it helps. It's detail
Yeah.
that we haven't gotten to yet.
Yep.
And, some of the prices could go down because already there's been a change, in lumber. Some lumber costs have been going down. Still a shortage of things, but
I'm not sure if we're done with this, but before we leave tonight, we should set another meeting time.
true. Do we want
Why
to
don't we wait until after we hear when Becky's going to meet with set it up for the finance committee to discuss it?
Well, we might meet and discuss the detailed
That's true.
first.
Yeah.
It might not take so long, but I
It's true.
feel like
It
I
would
need
be
to
nice
see that.
It'd be nice for us to at least look at it and talk about it before we go to the FinCom, especially if, one or two of us goes with Mary Ann.
It didn't sound like there was any point in going to FinCom tomorrow.
No,
Right.
that was my impression too.
Mm.
So if it comes
Right.
Wednesday, should we meet next Monday?
We will have the sort of cost breakdown then.
Fine with me.
Yeah, I'll
I
go
already
with
had it. I had it in my calendar, so. Okay,
I'll let you do that one. Okay, Michelle?
yep, I knew that one.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we're done then, right? Is that
I
your
believe
sense?
So
So-
Michelle, I'll put in the numbers and I'll make sure I get the right date for that MBLC meeting. And then
Okay.
I'll just send it to you for a quick read over.
Okay,
I'll do this in the morning, like at 7:30 or 8 o'clock tomorrow
okay.
morning.
I'll
Um,
make a note
And
to
then
check
if we could
email.
get this out, like maybe I can get it out around, before the fitness class that starts at 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll make myself a
All
note
right.
to look because I will be doing that fitness class at 9.
Okay. All righty.
Okay.
Good.
All right,
All
sounds
right.
good.
Thank you so
All
much,
right.
everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank
Good
you.
job,
I know
everyone.
this was
Thank
hard.
you.
Okay.
Bye
I
all.
know
Good
this
night.
was hard.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Okay. Good night, everyone.